Hey, my name's Peter Kelesis, and I made it.
Oh, no. You've made it going. Well, this is going to be really awkward.
I like it.
Yeah. We got a couple icebreakers. One's going to be our outro.
Okay.
But first icebreaker is any hot take that you have on set.
Oh,
So like related to filming, just in your work history, any hot take that you have.
Hot take that I have. Ooh. I don't know if they're hot takes anymore. I think it's something that I talked to you about, but it's like...
It's like Gene Kelly's overrated.
Oh, shit. Like, no, I mean...
I was just wondering how outdated they are.
No. Like, I don't have too many hot takes. Let me think. Sorry, this was you guys threw this on me. Wow, good job.
We got him.
I feel like I have a couple that people always bring up and I always forget. What movies do you guys like? I'll go with that. Yeah.
I like Godfather.
Well, that's pretty solid. That's, so
I know.
That's okay.
Are you gonna like have a hot take on the movie?
It's like, because I watch, Hayden knows this, but I watch so few movies and I know so few references that it's like I need people to bring it up for me to remember if I liked it or not, if that makes any sense.
It does.
Yeah, I think Friends is a great show. I don't think that's a hot take.
Whoa.
One of them.
You heard it here, folks.
If you've even heard of Friends.
It's a pretty low key show.
It was in the 90s.
Yeah, it was
very
old.
dated.
It was old.
I think Friends.
That's also not a hot. I have no hot takes, guys.
But like working on set and like
literal things on set.
Anything that you kind of notice of like, oh my gosh, what is going on here?
Yeah. It's not a hot take, but it's just the thing of like, just attitudes on set from like, this is gonna get me not hired, but producers need to fix their attitudes, and that's not a hot take. Not all of them, but yeah, it is that thing of like the generational difference. I feel like a lot of people are okay with being treated. I guess this could be a hot take because I feel like a lot of my friends who are in our generation are okay with being treated certain ways on set because like they're scared, like the producer, the boss is gonna not hire them on the next thing, kind of like we talked about before. And I think like that's so bullshit. Like you should treat people well. It doesn't matter who you are, what position you're in. It's like basic human decency. Because I don't like there's sets where like there's just people that don't care, like you're expendable, and like. Not really a hot take, but it's just like something that I'm passionate about on set because I can't think of something that's controversial.
It's true though. It's something that I mean, a person wouldn't really realize on a day-to-day basis of like, yes, there's bad sets, but it's not just one bad egg. There's a lot of bad set experiences, and it does happen reoccurring. I mean, I've heard it said many times on different shows of, well, that's just how the show is.
Yeah,
and it's like. I live in a world where I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be, where it's like, I think for a lot of people in a different generation heard that and were used to hearing that. And now they're repeating of like, well, that's just how the show is, without even thinking that there could be an option where it doesn't have to be like that anymore.
Yeah.
No,
exactly. Do you guys have any hot takes? I want to hear yours because I feel like you guys have funnier hot takes than I did.
It's going to be tough to do this like multiple times. New hot take every time. Gosh.
It could be the same. I didn't watch the other one. Did you do this one last time? My bad. I should have watched the last one.
No, I think, let me think.
Yeah, put you on the spot.
I'm coming fresh
You
from
have
work,
one?
so I'm loaded up with hot takes. I don't.
For me, it's like, I mean, it's similar to the one I had last time, but it's a timing thing of like, the producers I give the most respect is someone who gives me a task and then they ask me, how long will it take to do ... And then I'd say, well, doing this, that, 5 hours. And it's like, okay, we have 2 hours. What can we do in 2 hours out of the things? Like, what can we take out? And I love producers that work with you in the time of like what the time that we actually have. So I guess the hot take being, there's a lot of people that don't do that, and they're just like, hey, you have 2 hours to do this. And they don't understand that that is a 5-hour job. And they don't understand that when I tell them that it's impossible for me to do that in the time you're telling me to do it. And they're like, well, maybe we got to hire someone better. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you could try. I'd like to see someone else try too. But I mean, and I don't get that a lot. But when I do, it's I really enjoy the producers that kind of like talk with their crew and understand, just have that communication. Yeah.
I'd say boomers make bad filmmakers.
I don't think that's
God damn, you're gonna have like
hot take. That's pretty. Yeah.
you're gonna have the best hot take in every episode.
It's supposed to be controversial.
Yeah.
That's all
I
I
guess
say.
mine's not controversial. That
I mean,
just makes sense.
You made a good point too.
To tell us why boomers make bad filmmakers.
I mean, I'm always speaking at the entire generation, but I think that entire generation, I think the entire generation was kind of raised to kind of not communicate. And that's a really, be very much, I was having a discussion at work with my coworker about this just a second ago. There's this interesting thing where information and gatekeeping information was kind of more of a job security thing to boomers than it is to us now. Our generation, we don't have that instinct to gatekeep any sort of information because we just Google it. We just, it's not even in our instinct to gain power or maintain power in that way because it doesn't matter. But for boomers, it very much has always, I think, represented job security. Specifically, we're going to get into camera stuff, but specifically for camera, which is very technical and very much, you're getting paid because you know all these minute things that are probably pretty hard to learn, especially before the internet. That's a lot of job security if you're the only one that knows that when you swap a lens, you're supposed to put the aperture the way it was before, and that could cost you your job, and you could just not tell that to the up and coming guy. Now you can probably find it out via Googling much easier, but.
Well, they're going to find out that Google exists soon. And
yeah, once they found out, actually probably be pretty chill because they'll just calm down a bit.
I guess so.
Hopefully.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope they calm down.
I hate boomers.
Okay. Even hotter take.
Yeah. That's all. That's all.
I like it.
Just put it out there.
We'll keep it at that.
Yeah,
then.
keep it in there.
Boomers are most our audience, actually.
Good. I love you guys. I'm just fucking with y'all. You'll never
Watching long form video podcasting. It's definitely the boomer demographic.
Yeah, definitely.
Thanks, Grandma. But cool. So let's get into this. This podcast is Haven't Made It Yet. We are
we're recording.
We're recording, right?
Yeah, and we're doing a Indie Not podcast. You already said that.
Indie Not.
The podcast is called.
Oh wait, no, I didn't say that. We're Indie Not Films.
You said haven't made it. Oh,
we're
Indie Not Films.
We're Haven't Made It. This is Haven't Made It Yet.
This is Haven't Made It Yet.
And so today we're talking to. I'm Hayden Garrett. Hayden Garrett, one of the hosts, and
I think the icebreaker, the warm up didn't take.
It helped Peter. I mean, I guess Peter didn't really need any help. We're with Peter today. And then
it's just Peter too.
It's just
What's up, y'all?
There's no
Peter,
last name.
I actually honestly don't. I mean, I know it's a K.
Mm-hmm. Dude, is it not on there like my full name or?
Kelesis.
Yeah, you got it.
Kelesis.
Yeah, most people say it wrong.
I always just say K, and it's K on my phone, and I just know you as Peter K.
That's okay. Most people don't know me by my name.
It's actually PK.
PK. PK's good. I like PK. Yeah. That was
PK on
one of
the
the
phone.
nicknames I've had. growing
Really?
up. So yeah, not the top tier one, but it was one of them. So yeah.
You're Nick.
Oh yeah, that's right.
What's up, Yannick?
How's it going?
We're with Yannick, and Sam's not here today. She's working, but we're with Peter Kelesis today, and Peter PK.
The big PK.
Peter is a DP camera operator, made his own drone, as well as AC. I know Peter very well from 2 seasons of working with him on Farmer Wants a Wife. He was ACing with a fantastic camera crew, and we have the privilege for him coming over from Las Vegas to the great golden city of Los Angeles, and he's gonna talk to us about all his knowledge about what he knows about the cameras and about his experiences.
And in a very exciting project.
Very exciting
We're going to
project.
dive into as well.
Oh, yeah.
That crosses international borders.
Yes.
It's a little hook.
So Peter, give us a little, like, am I true to say, are you a DP, or what would you kind of call yourself as a position?
I'd say I'm a camera operator mainly. Y'all did ask what I was. It's just hard to say. I do DP, I do AC, I do gaff, but I'd say camera operating is where my heart lies at. Unless it's documentary work, then I would consider myself a DP and a director for documentary work. It's a horrible answer, but it's like kind of the multifaceted thing
camera.
that we do.
It sounds like
mostly camera, and a
with
little
gaffing
lighting.
as well, with lighting. I mean, it's hard not to have lighting without camera. It's hard to not know that world a bit.
Yeah.
How'd you get into it?
I got into it via YouTube as like, high schooler, middle schooler. Like I just wanted to make videos, like 2005 YouTube, it was the heyday, the glory days, as some would say. And yeah, I just wanted to be a YouTuber. I never became a YouTuber. I never even got more than 2,000 views on anything on YouTube because I made stupid videos of me and my friends pretending we were like cartel lords, like with the fake, the fake gun effects back in 2005 or whatever. But that just got me interested in camera work. It was just fun to hold a camera. It wasn't good, but it was fun, and I enjoyed it a lot. And at some stage, like I was working a regular job, like around like 16 to 17, and one of my coworkers was like, "My friend makes music videos," and I was like, "Really? Like, what is that all about?" Because like I thought I had to do this regular job. I was like, "This is the only way to make money." So I got to do this. And I was like, does he make money? And he's like, yeah, he makes like $100 per video. I was like, that's so much. Like back then I was like, that's insane. Cause I was making like, I don't know, $275 a week working at a kiosk Starbucks or some shit like that. So I ended up linking with this guy named Mike. I haven't talked to Mike in forever. I'm so sorry, Mike, if you're watching this.
Thank you, Mike.
And we made these, I don't want to call them shitty, but like, you look back at your stuff, they're kind of like shitty like videos, like made a lot of little rap videos for people, really basic videos. Like it was basic, but I was having so much fun because I was doing everything, like lighting, DPing, like helping direct. Like we co-directed, we both would edit it. Like it was just such a all-encompassing thing that it made me fall in love with film. And also I realized, there's money in this, so much money. And I was like, cool. And that's kind of when it clicked for me that I could like do this. So then I went to college for film, went for like a year and a half, made the connections I needed, and just snowballed from there. I did not start in the industry in camera. I started more grip and electric, and PAing for a little while. And then that snowballed into camera. Because every fucking set I'd be on, I'd be PAing. And I'd be like, hey, can I work in the camera team? To the fucking producer, I'd be like, camera team. Nobody listened to me for fucking years. But finally got it. And then it just like snowballed from there. So yeah. Long ass answer, but that's kind of the storyline of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And why? What was the process of you getting into camera? I mean, I know it's relatively. I mean, it's pretty difficult in LA to kind of start from getting that camera PA position and kind of rising your way up. What was your process like?
Like to actually get the first job, or sorry, what do you mean?
Like kind of getting the first job and then keeping to the first job, and keeping to the next job and the next job.
Yeah. For me, it was kind of like a multi-strategic thing. I basically would work on indie films in Vegas, also in LA, for basically free. Like I'd work like 15, 16-hour days for free, and I would be happy.
And was this Craigslist, or was this just someone you found on Facebook?
Some of it was Craigslist for like the low-end jobs where I was like doing the one-man band thing. I had a studio in Vegas that my friend Blake, you know Blake, my roommate, he's my roommate. He got an internship at this studio in town, and I like begged him. I was like, let me come in. Like, I'll grip. Like, so I came in, I gripped on this feature film they were shooting for like 2 weeks for free. And they're doing like 16-hour days, but it just got me in contact with like the people who ran the studio. And I just kept telling them, I was like, I want to do camera. And like, they knew that they were not paying me. So they kind of gave me more free will with equipment and like teaching me. So that's where I built my skills. And then I would try to use those skills on sets. Like if I worked on, it's called Double Shot of Love. It's basically Jersey Shore spinoff, but it's like a 2-3 month thing in Vegas. And I was a regular PA. I was doing releases at that point, which was really fun. You guys should try doing releases if you haven't, especially at clubs. Oh, it's great.
I'll put it on my list.
I just love talking to people. It's a good time.
Releases.
But I was doing releases, and I would just like always be talking to the camera guys. I was like the ACs, camera guys, camera PAs, and like just being like, oh yeah, that's that, blah, blah, blah. Like it's kind of annoying when a PA comes up to you as a camera person now and like it's like, oh, that's a this, that. But I'm also like, I get what you're doing. I see that you're trying to show interest and show that like you want to work here. So like I appreciate it. And like that's kind of what I did. I just kept annoying all the camera guys on all these shows and like showing that I could help and like asking the camera PAs and the ACs if I could help them even when I wasn't in their department because I wanted to do that. I didn't give a fuck about releases. I didn't give a fuck about all this other shit. I just wanted to get in there, and that was my way in. So yeah, that was kind of my way in, and then keeping it was just like, I don't know. Once I started getting it, it was easy. People just started calling me back because I used to work really hard. I don't work hard anymore. Don't work hard, guys.
Well, none of us do. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all retired doing podcasts.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, that was that, and yeah, that's an answer, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, how about Vegas? Like, I mean, you've worked in Vegas most of your life, right? You back and forth in LA as well. But is there any difference that you can say of like working in the industry in Vegas, or is it pretty similar?
It's pretty different, honestly. It's weird because I started in Vegas. I did a lot of low budget things. I started getting like decent rates there. And then right when I started getting decent rates, I instantly went over to LA. I never lived here, but like I would rent an Airbnb room and I would work a full feature and then I'd hop onto another one and then I'd do like a commercial because LA was like the dream for me because I was like, that's Hollywood. I got to do it. It's right there. Yeah, what I noticed in LA, for me, at least just comparing, is that there are a lot cooler jobs here, a lot more household names, a lot bigger equipment. But the market feels very saturated here. So the rates are actually lower here for the most part. And I know we're like kind of in a dry spell right now, but I would say it's not too hard to find a job in LA, but it's hard to find a good paying job is what I've noticed. In Vegas, I just covered sorry. in Vegas, it's like once you're in, there's not too many people, so you kind of control the market price of what a job rate is. And sure, they can ship in LA people to Vegas, but like it just makes production so much harder for them. So they're going to pay the rates that we tell them to pay us when they come out, which is really nice. And
so you're not in a union?
I am not. I was going to join actually because of Farmer, but it didn't happen because I don't want to until we actually flip that show because nobody knows. I don't know if we're allowed. I don't know about union shit. I'm not part of you guys yet.
Yeah, allegedly people wanted to flip.
IATSE does watch the podcast.
What's up, IATSE? Yeah, flip me. I tried. You guys tried to put me in the Central Union. I'm on the West Coast. The West Coast didn't answer me. Let me in. Come on.
We're
we'll
waiting
make a
for
short out of that, and
yeah.
we'll just DM it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Add it.
Yeah.
So I worked most of my all my camera operating experience was in Portland, Oregon, and I noticed there's kind of a tendency of it being because the work was so there. Actually, well, you said there's not that many people doing it, and there's a lot of work in Vegas for people needing to do it, right?
I would say now, yeah. In the beginning, there wasn't as much work, but there always was because the hospitality industry there, the casinos always need something.
Yeah.
But since like Caesars Studios started doing stuff, like there's BattleBots, there's Hell's Kitchen, there is now Sony is about to open a 400,000 square foot lot that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg's out there now, and then all the sports. Once the sports came in, it was over. Like there's never ending jobs.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous at this point.
So do you want to stay there now or?
Yeah. I think it's like about a year or two ago, I kind of made. Well, okay, I was actually gonna move to New York because I tried LA and like I know you are okay with the traffic, but that shit was hard for me, man.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I don't know, it was hard for me, and like I think every city has amazing people. I think people who generalize whole cities, they don't really know what they're talking about, but I do think there is a vibe to the corporate life in LA that I don't necessarily connect with. I just feel like it's not as genuine sometimes when I'm like going out to meet people. But yeah, I did the few features in LA. It was cool, but I was like, I don't know if I'm really vibing with the city. It's beautiful, but I don't know if it's for me. And in my head, I was like, New York. Like I gotta do New York. That's the only other big city that really draws me to it. And I was gonna move there, and then COVID hit. So I was like, well, my dad's here in Vegas. I have enough money to go, but it would be kind of insane to move right when lockdown starts. So I stayed in Vegas. COVID happened. Everybody went through that together, even if they're in different cities. That was a world community event. And then I don't know, I just started seeing Vegas like build and like the community grow more and more and more, and I started to fall in love with the little quirks and all the stuff that like gives Vegas its charm. It's a trash city. It's definitely like it's weird. You go there and it's like there's just everything wrong in one place, but that's what gives it its charm a little bit. Yeah, and I was like, you know what? This is definitely going to be home base for the rest of my life. Also because after COVID, I just started being traveled everywhere for work, and I'm like, if I'm being traveled everywhere, I can live anywhere I want.
Yeah, you can go anywhere. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of that.
Vegas is an honest city.
Yeah.
Brutally
It's
honest.
not pretending to be anything.
That's a very good
charming.
description. Yeah.
Miami, honest city.
Yeah.
LA, nope.
No, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what I like about it. Yeah.
sweep it under the curtains.
Yeah.
Or under the
Yeah.
the rug.
The rug. The curtains work. They're
Curtains
just
work, really.
they're vertical
Yeah,
rugs.
sweep it over the curtain.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
I was wondering with the going back to a comment of Portland, I was really struggling with a lot of kind of almost cutthroat nature because there wasn't much work to be had, and there's so many people trying to get the work, and it was weird trying to like almost sell yourself by being like, I'm better than those other guys because it's not LA or a bigger city. Is that something that you had to deal with in Vegas, or was there a lot of stuff to go around?
So that's definitely something you deal with. I don't deal with that because I don't care. Like I don't give a fuck if you get a job. Can we curse on this podcast?
We can now.
Okay, cool. Am I the first one?
We'll switch it to not for kids.
All right, cool.
It's no biggie.
Yeah, I don't know. I just never gave a fuck to like try to prove myself over somebody else. It's like if you get hired on something that I wanted, that's fine. We're a community. We should be working together. We should be getting each other jobs. We should like not. There should be no gatekeeping. And I saw it. I saw it with older generations, and some people in my generation do it a little bit with each other because there's always beefs everywhere. It's stupid. I think they're dumb. But I try to live by the mindset of like, it's okay if somebody else got that job. Like they deserved it. Like yes, I could have done it too. Nobody's better than anybody else. But yeah, you just got to keep that positive mindset because like if you do that, then you get a community of people that trust each other and aren't trying to undercut and like fuck with each other. Because now I'm surrounded by people like that, and everybody's like, oh, I can't take this. Can you take this? Oh, I got this job, but this is the rate. Like, what do they offer you? Everybody's sharing this information so producers aren't fucking people over, and it's like it's beautiful because I know there's people that don't do that, and I know there's cities that don't do that, and it's sad. It's like we're all contractors, and like in the grand scheme of it, like I don't want to say producers, but the companies and like the studios, as you guys know, are just trying to make the thing for the least amount of money. And like they'll tell you they have only this much for you when they don't, because you just got texted by your friend who said they offered him $300 more. And it's like, you just got to keep each other honest, and you got to keep these companies honest to keep the community fair and open.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite producers that I've ever worked with, he would give me the budget, and then he would also give me the actual budget.
Yeah.
And be like, this is the budget, and this is
I love that.
the
That's
budget.
Yeah.
And like, great. So we're going for the first one, and if it's really bad, we'll go for the second one.
Yeah.
But I had a camera department specific thing I was thinking about, which is, and this might be more of a union set thing versus non-union, and which is commercial and reality TV. And I don't know what your experience is in the union world in the camera department. Like the camera department is kind of notorious for being kind of stoic and maybe even cold or like cliquey. I'm wondering why you think that is, if that's your experience, and yeah, if you have experienced that.
Kind of. I've kind of experienced that. I think ACs. I'm not talking about reality ACs, because like I also like first AC on things that are like, I've done features, I've done commercials, I've done music videos, all that stuff where you have like the full chain of command that like you would have in like a union set. I've worked things that are like technically union, but they come into Vegas and then it's like they can hire non-union because we're right to work. And I mean, I think we just keep to ourselves, because it's like our jobs are kind of intensive. Every department is, but it's like we really got to be on it, because if the cameras, like the camera cannot be the thing that everybody's waiting on. Like it has to be ready, and we're waiting on everybody else. Like that's just kind of my mindset, and not in a way where I'm trying to rush people or like be a dick, but it's like we work at a certain pace and we keep that pace. So like, you know what to expect with the camera department. You know how long it's going to take, and we're not going to rush. We're not going to be slow. Yeah, we're just going to be on it. And it's like, to be on it, I feel like we have to be kind of serious. Sometimes, as stupid as that is, I don't like being serious, honestly. I think we're making fucking movies. We're making art. It's like, it's goofy. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. So it's like, I try to come in with a little more like jovial attitude, and a little more kindness towards the other departments, because it's like, I know first ACs who just like, they just smoke cigarettes all day and they like glare at you and like they don't want to talk, but like they are technically on a union set, even on like, because it's like first AC is like the head of the camera department, and they are the connector between all of the departments. Like they have to talk to lighting, they have to be able to anticipate everything, and it's like, if you don't have a personality that can be nice to other people, and like,
It's important.
yeah, it's super important to just be able to collaborate in all aspects of film. But yeah, I do see that with ACs, and I'm trying to change that. So I don't know why, but you know, I think it's just it's a position that makes you jaded, because nobody appreciates you if you're pulling focus, but you also have like one of the hardest jobs at the same time. So,
and you're one of the few departments that can't really, like you said, like step away. Like another department, you might be able to swap, like cover each other. Yeah. But in most scenarios, you're really there for standing for 16 hours. Yeah. Like when I was PAing, it was like I would always look after the AC guys, because they just can't not be looking at the monitor, or like or the camera operators even more so. Like you truly are, when it's a 16-hour day, it's a 15.5-hour day plus 30 minutes lunch for those guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Thanks for looking out. Appreciate you.
No more, but you know,
always watching.
Yeah, back in the day.
Maybe again.
Yeah,
one day.
The thing I'm jealous of I see this in multiple shoots, but the comm systems that the camera team has, like it's always the radio. Oh, dude. And then
we're always talking shit.
Yeah, you all have the most interesting conversations that I'm only getting one side of all the time, and it's always someone else's one side. Yeah. And I'm trying to piece together of like, she did not just say that. Oh my God. And I was like, what did she just say?
It's like 90% just BS.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're not talking any. They're gossiping through, because I mean, you all are setting things up as you're just talking to each other miles away from each. Not miles, but far. Yeah. It's just nice to. I mean, and that builds that kind of niche of like, when you're always communicating with these people, it's really easy to kind of keep in that group.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Those things though, just so you know, they keep us sane. Without those, like,
totally.
because the walkies, as you guys know, you don't hear shit, and half the time the fucking people don't click it and wait and then talk. They just click it. You're and like sometimes the PAs are like, okay, copy, got it, and you're like, what the? How did you understand what the fuck they just said? For me, I actually I'm hard of hearing a little bit, so like that's why I bring them to set all the time, just so like there's no miscommunications with my DP and my ops, because I don't want to be the weak link in like the camera team to where like my operator was waiting for me to change a lens or like to switch some settings or something, but I didn't hear him. So it's super important. But yeah, that does make it kind of clicky because we're just bullshitting 80% of the time.
I mean, it's like nothing wrong with that. Like but it does give me like slight jealousy of like, man, I wish I could just I wish I could just talk to people as I'm like doing my thing. But I don't know, maybe the art department
start bringing comms.
Start bringing
comms. I mean, you might
just
I don't even do a normal radio. It's not that good.
No, my radio is always broken. I mean, broken. But no, I use the radio very well. Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Copy that.
10-1.
Okay.
10-1.
A very briefly common question, but you got your next big gig lined up, or maybe you're looking to for first AC, for example, and you've never really in that environment used that equipment. Do you have any advice for somebody taking that leap, using a scary equipment, or even maybe they have used it before, but taking that leap of then using it in a high stress environment?
Yeah, I actually just dealt with this situation. I had, not me, but I had, because I know everything. Just kidding. I have a friend. She is pretty green, but also not. Like, she does a lot of short films, so she knows gear, but she hasn't really worked on a big set as a first AC. And she got hit up to do this commercial, or like, it was a show. I won't say what the show is, but it was a show with a famous person. And it was on Sony Venice's with Preston hand units and Steadicam, I believe. That's a big jump from just being on your little mirrorless camera.
Yeah.
And for her, I would say like what I wanted was mentorship. Because in Vegas, that's one thing we don't have. We don't have camera house. Well, okay, now we do. That's a new thing. We have Boca now, thanks Boca Rentals, which allows you to, if you're in a city that has houses, go in, meet the people, like get hands on gear. Because like some people can read manuals and learn. I cannot do that. I need hands on gear, and I need to be able to like touch it and play with it and learn and like fuck up. So I brought her into Boca and we did a whole crash course. And yeah, just get your hands on it. And if you can't get your hands on it, the internet is great. You're not going to be able to learn everything, but learn as much as you can. And I'd say just like go in confident, but honest. Because when I would start, I would go in and be like, yeah, I can do that thing. The DP would say something. I had no idea how to fucking do it. And I would be fumbling. I'd be fucking fumbling, not knowing what I'm doing, trying to figure it out, which it's not the way. Like, just be honest. Be like, hey, like, I kind of know this, but like, I haven't worked with this camera. And yeah, you're going to look stupid, but you're going to learn. And you're gonna know. So
you can't really fake it till you make it in the camera department.
It's fucking hard, dude.
It's a tough one to do that.
Fucking hard. Yeah, you can fake being a second AC maybe. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh god. Yeah, just write whatever on that slate. Yeah, it's all good.
Exactly.
You're not gonna see the editor. It's not like
it doesn't matter. You're going on to your next job. You know.
Yeah.
An AC kind of has to keep the morale going for the crew and to keep the communication. What would you say do you have any tips and tricks or a good way of just motivating the crew and keeping it like positive, or is that something that you do?
No,
I'm
just kidding.
Not at all.
I'd say like I like to keep the camera team motivated as much as possible. I think that's like a multi-layered question that I would answer as this is kind of advice for people becoming ACs, second or first or reality, whatever. Be nearby, always. Be nearby the person above you. Be nearby the DP. Always be listening. If you're fucking like eating lunch in the corner, eating your fucking grapefruit snacks and shit while they're like talking about the next shot, you're not doing your job right. Not in a mean way. Like I'm trying to say this in a motivating way. It sounds like I'm being an asshole, but like that's the most important thing, because that's how you're going to make your day easier. That's how you're not going to stress, because you're never going to be thrown something that you're not expecting. That kind of helps ease the vibes of the people on your crew, because they can just rely on you and everything's done before they even ask. So that's one way to keep morale up without actively doing it, which it's necessary. Please do that if you can.
Yeah.
The other thing, which I try to do, just be a fucking person. Don't be a robot. Like, I know it's hard for some people. Like, not everybody has the same personalities. Not everybody's extroverted or whatever. I don't consider myself that extroverted. But, like, be funny. Like, say stupid shit. Like, be a human and, like, just relate with your coworkers. Like, it's not... I don't know. You guys are going to be on set for 12 to 16 hours for possibly months at a time. It's like you want to like the people you're around. So it's like, just be nice. Be nice and be cool. I don't know what that means. That means different things for different people, but you know, it matters. Like your personality really does matter, and how you talk to people really matters. So yeah, just keep that in mind.
And they're like, you could take this as like a sellout thing or whatever, but they are kind of like your lifeline of staying in the industry. You know, that's just the nature of it. Like that's how you get your jobs, is your people and your community and your circle. And I mean, be nice to people always, but that's also part of it, you know?
Exactly.
I guess.
Be nicer to the ones that give you money.
Yeah.
That's my saying. No, I'm just kidding. You should just be nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even out of your department. It's like it's good to talk to the other departments too. It's good to just like, if you see somebody struggling or you see somebody like who looks like something's going on, even if they're in the art department or something.
Yeah, God forbid.
Yeah, right. Just fucking hang out with them, talk to them like on lunch, like be a cool person. Like it pays to be cool. It pays to be nice. And like, don't do it because it pays or whatever. Like just do it because it'll make you feel better. It'll make them feel better. It just like brings the morale up of everybody. And that's my goal, at least with being on sets, is like, let's have a good time. Let's make something good. Cause you're going to make a better piece of art if everybody's in a good mood and happy. Like these directors who are doing like yelling at people and shit like that, like fuck that. I don't put up with that shit. Like I just can't work in environments like that. Like I can, but I don't want to. Like there's no reason to do that.
Yeah.
I like what you said also about that it's literally should be part of your job to be nice and caring. And I don't think anybody's really thinking about it that way. But you're with these people for 16 hours and you are a slice, maybe 1/50th of the morale of the entire thing. And or like you are like a small city of, you know, if the morale goes down, the city gets fucked.
Yeah.
You know, like or the ship or whatever, you know, like it should literally be part of your job to be nice.
Yeah.
Small bit, but like you're being paid to be nice. At least we should be looking at it that way. I think.
Fully agree.
And, you know, like even if that's maybe not entirely your character, like be nice. Like you're working. You're being paid for it.
Just don't be an asshole.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be nice. You can be quiet. You know what I'm saying?
No dicks.
Yeah, no dicks. Unless you're funny, then you can be a dick. There's some grips.
Grips are allowed.
Yeah, they're the exception. Yeah.
Grips are not being paid.
They're allowed to be like very broody and just the worst dick jokes you could ever hear. And it's like, you carry a lot of shit, so like just let it all out.
Yeah, they deserve it.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh boy, I just remember my controversial take from Lost. Okay, I love grips. Okay, I feel like before we get into the project you're currently working on, your like passion project, not your work. We should kind of get into what you said you identified yourself as a director, at least in the documentary world. What is the kind of take us a little bit through like your trajectory of doing documentaries? So you were saying at the beginning you were doing these music videos, and then what kind of brought you to documentary?
It was a long process, like multi-year. I was just doing everything at first because I was doing G&E. So I worked TV, I worked films, I worked commercials, music video, all that shit. Then I transitioned into camera as an AC. second AC, and first AC. Worked everything except documentary, like literally everything except high budget features. I never did that, like huge blockbusters, but I worked like, I don't know, $1 million, $2 million budget, like low budget ones. And at some point I got hit up to do this doc in Vegas as a first AC. And it was my first doc ever. It was about, it's out already. I think it's called Miss Brown. It's about this woman in Vegas who basically, like, there's card counting, but then there's levels above that because the hit bosses can spot card counting instantly. They'll come over to your table and kick you out. So she's like a level above, and then she's another level above because she has this whole network of people that, like, some dress in disguises. They have like little like signals, and they're all working together. And she ended up getting 15 million from the casinos. And this is like a real story. Like, she ended up getting arrested for it and shit like that. But like, her story was like, people are still doing this, and she still knows the network and all this shit. And I was like, this is so fucking cool. And it actually played at Tribeca as well. So I have a film at Tribeca. Well, I don't. I just first AC'd, but I was like on a pickup day. But it was like, I was like, what?
So cool.
It's so fucking cool. And it was like real life, because like, I know the purpose of filmmaking is to kind of, a lot of people's purpose is to like express this inner thing that they need to get out, or that they want other people to feel. And for me personally, narrative, I don't know, maybe my brain's just like broken, but narrative just doesn't do it for me as much as documentary. Because when I watch a documentary, I'm like, oh, I know that's fucking real. Like, that really is happening or happened, and it just hits me different, and it allows me to learn and change my views on things. And like, I want to do that to other people. But yeah, that was the first doc I worked on, and it just piqued my interest. And then, yeah, I'm mid doc journey right now. Like, I haven't finished a doc yet.
Oh wow. Okay. So
yeah.
So this is like a new thing in a way.
It's in the last year is when I really dived in. I have one doc that is in pre-production right now. It's about the history of techno and about a techno artist in Vegas. I have another one that's getting funding about this pianist in Mexico. She's like a feminist icon down there, and she's gonna probably pass soon, so we're trying to make a story on her.
Oh, wow.
And then I don't know if am I supposed to bring up the big one that we were talking about, or the, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you guys were gonna ask, like, I don't know the thing. But yeah, so
Well, Hayden had a soundboard with a drum roll he wanted to actually play.
Oh, you actually did? I thought that was a joke.
That's
hilarious.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Oh wait,
There we go.
No.
But yeah, the first big doc that I did was from Sundance 2 years ago. I went with a group of friends, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta watch this movie and this movie, that movie." I was like, "I don't want to watch any movies. I just want to watch the docs." I watched a couple movies, but I want to watch all the docs. I want to connect and like just meet all these documentary filmmakers and just tell them like, hey, I'll work for free. Like, I just want to work on docs. Like, let me in, whatever you need. Like, I just want to help. Funny thing, I didn't talk to I talked to a couple, but I didn't really network at all with them. My friend who was working Sundance ran into this guy at the bus stop like 3 separate times, and they never really talked, but they're like, oh, it's you again. And my friend said, I think this is fate that we have met this many times. Let me get your number. My friend texts me and says, hey, I just met this guy.
He was just like,
yeah,
number.
Literally.
Feels right.
He's that type of guy.
I like it.
It was crazy. But he's like, yeah, I just met this guy at the bus stop. Talked to him for like 1 minute. He was just in Ukraine. You should text him. And I was like, okay. Backstory also, I was in Greece when Russia did the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, and I was going to bus over, but I didn't because I didn't have a camera, and I felt like I just wasn't going to do it justice, because I did want to go. I really wanted to go and just like experience that. Yeah, but back to Sundance. I text him. He's like, what's up? What do you want to do? You want to meet up? Have you seen a movie? And I was like, I'm seeing this movie called 20 Days in Mariupol, which is a documentary about the siege of Mariupol. It's a city in Ukraine. And he's like, I'm going to, let's sit together. We'll meet. We'll talk. Watch the documentary. By the way, it is the hardest hitting documentary I've ever watched. I cried so much. And I'm not invested in Ukraine specifically. I'm invested in conflict zones and in civilians living in conflict zones. So it wasn't like a oh, I love Ukraine, I'm crying because of that. It's just because of the people. Like, it's just, dude, people are just dying. They're just dying, and it's fucking horrible. That documentary just won the BAFTA, and it's in the Oscars competition right now. I could see it winning. The director and the producer are really cool. Yeah, I kept in touch with the producer after that because I talked to her. But we watched the doc. He showed me his trailer. I told him, hey, I do camera operating. Like, if you need me, because he was going out for a second round of filming because he went out without like a plan, but then he felt like he had more of a story that he could follow the second time. I was like, hit me up. Texted for like 2-3 weeks, and I thought I was just gonna be his camera operator, but he's like, hey, I want you to DP this, and I was like, all right, I'm down.
Wow.
Let's fucking go. So yeah, we waited until everything lined up. We had to get military credentials from Ukraine before we could go out. So it was like a couple months of waiting, and it was weird because like I told everybody, but then we didn't have a solid date. So all my friends and family were like worried for me. Everybody reacted differently.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was odd. Some people were really mad at me. Some were like, fuck yeah. And I was like, it's funny to see the dichotomy. And like, I don't judge how anybody reacted during that time because it's like they cared about me, and that's why they said, because they're worried. So yeah, we went out. Sorry, am I diverting from the question? I don't remember.
No, just keep going.
Okay, cool. So we went out. We met in Poland. So I fly solo, by the way. He lives in Reno, and he was flying out from Chicago. But we met in Krakow. I have this huge like Pelican 1650, I think, just like desert tan.
Desert?
It was right. Loaded with film gear and other gear. Yeah, it was just heavy. It was like over 120 pounds. Land, it is snowing. I'm alone in Poland, and I have no money, by the way. Like, this is not a funded project. Like, he was funding it with his credit cards. And he told me, he's like, he can't pay me. I was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, this is bigger than that for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm in Poland, trudging through the snow with this fucking 120-pound Pelican, trying to walk a mile to my hotel that I booked for the night because he was coming in the day after, just like smacking my heel with this thing. Like, my heel's bleeding. I'm walking through the snow. Like, it's over cobblestone. And I'm just like, what the fuck am I doing here? But got to the hotel and I was like, cool. He comes out the next day. I meet him and his girlfriend. His girlfriend actually came out and was like it was a 3-person crew, so she's everything. But like, she just helped out. And yeah, it was the first time we all met, and we just hung out for a week or two trying to get across the border because the border kept like not allowing us in. And then
Why were they not allowing you guys in?
it wasn't Ukraine that wasn't letting us in. It was actually our way of getting in because there was like 2 options, and one was we were gonna have like a personal convoy from London drive through Poland and pick us up, but they kept changing the dates, so we were just kind of like in this weird limbo where we were in this Airbnb and we didn't know when they were coming because they kept switching the dates because cars were breaking down and shit like that. Basically, the backstory on that is like there's this organization, I forgot the name. I'm friends with the people, I could ask them. But they get donated cars from London, from Germany, from other countries, and they drive them through the Poland border into Ukraine to be driven to Kyiv, which is the capital of Ukraine, to be spray painted in camouflage and fixed and sometimes retrofitted with like machine guns or shit like that. A lot of the ones we were in were like medvac vehicles that were going to be turned into medvac stuff. But basically, yeah, they were going to pick us up because like our contact in Ukraine knew them. And they were going to pick us up, but we were stuck there for a while. And it was weird because like I hadn't felt much yet. Like, I wasn't super scared. I was just like, what am I doing? But I was like, whatever. But like when you're in line at the border, when they finally picked us up and you're like, you see the border and you're just like, oh, I'm about to go into war. And you're like, I don't know. That was the scariest part. Honestly, it was like entering Ukraine was the scariest part. But then once you're in, and it's like you're not stuck, but it's pretty hard to get out. It's like a multi-hour process to get back out. And we're committed to this documentary, and I'm just like, oh, I'm here. And it's like, drive into the western border and like there's bombs and shit. It's like it's so far away from the front that it's just like farmland and villages, and you're like, oh, I'm technically at war right now, and this is a really weird feeling, but I'm here, I'm committed, and when you're in it, it's like you're just in it, like nothing else matters. And also the people there, like they've been going through it for a year and a half by the point I was there, so they're all jovial. Like our first day, we're driving around, and this guy who's part of that convoy was like just chilling, windows down, and an air raid siren goes off, and he's like, the fucking Russians, like, and he just drinks his tea, and then he starts laughing and like making fun of him, and like nobody's panicked, nobody's going to a shelter, nobody's getting down, like nobody gives a fuck. It's different if you're on like frontline cities, you get the fuck down, you hide, but it's like, I don't know, they're just so used to it, and like their spirit's fucking strong, dude. Like they're cool people. But yeah, that was that. We went in. We shot for 9-ish weeks, all around Ukraine. We did a bunch of different shit. We came back, shot in Poland a little bit, and then we shot in Germany a little bit as well. I pointed at you because you told me you're German.
Yes.
Yeah. We shot there because there was this Chinese national who was basically doing funding on Chinese social media for Ukraine, but she had to do it under aliases because you'll get like banned, and like you can get your family not killed, but like you can get your family in trouble in China for talking bad about Russia, basically. So she was like doing this underground thing to raise awareness for Ukraine. She would get money for drones. She would do deliveries for cars, for thermals, all that stuff. So we talked with her. She was super cool. I can't talk about her actually much because like it was a full anonymous interview, but very cool, very cool person. When the doc comes out, you'll see her. She was super inspiring. Yeah. Sorry.
What was in Poland?
Poland. So the beginning, we actually shot in Poland right before we went into Ukraine. I forgot to say that. There was it was a refugee art school. For the Ukrainians. So basically it wasn't just kids, but it was a lot of kids and then a couple adults who, he wasn't ex-Ukrainian, but like he was Ukrainian, but he lived in Poland his whole life, I think. His name was like Eugen. He would just teach these kids how to make films. Like it was a filmmaking class. And it was really cool. But yeah, before I even went in, just hearing these kids, because these kids were from Crimea, which was like, that was taken before the war. That was annexed. And these kids, I don't know how old they were. They must have been anywhere from like 9 to like 13, something like that. And they're just talking about like bombs just raining down on their cities. And they're just talking about it casually. And they're like, yeah, now when I hear fireworks, like I can't. Like, I mean, they're fine. They're not fine, but they're fine. You know what I mean? Like they're talking about it and they're okay. And they're really fucking strong. But like just hearing a kid talk about that, it just hits different. Like I do think men and women and old people and young people, it all matters. But when you hear a fucking kid say that shit,
it shouldn't be different in their world. It shouldn't have to be in a conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just rough. But that was Poland. It was honestly kind of a test shoot because that wasn't exactly for the doc, but it could be part of the doc. So we shot that first just to kind of get into the groove of things. But that was like, it was sad. It was sad. Yeah.
Where in Ukraine did you film? Were you actually on the front lines, or if you're allowed to say?
I can. It was a mix. We were based in Kyiv. That's where our main apartment was. So we were following a singular subject that the director found when he first went out there. She was like an ex-math teacher who turned war journalist when the war happened. And we were living with her. So like we go in and she lives in this like old Soviet style house, like tapestries on the wall, like tiny little dirty living room with like pull out couch and like a little bunk bed. And then her bed was in the next tiny room, just on the floor, like a mattress. And it was 4 people living in that total. This kitchen, like you couldn't have the gas on too long because like Russia was cutting gas to Ukraine, and it wasn't in the middle of winter, but it was near the end of winter, so it was like people were conserving, so you just had to be careful with that. But yeah, we were just crammed in there living in Kyiv, and we had subjects that she knew and that our director knew. Mind you, the director is not Ukrainian at all. He's Filipino, from Reno. That rhymed. That was crazy. Troy, by the way, he's awesome. So like none of us spoke Ukrainian. like which made the doc. There's a different level of difficulty because of that. But yeah. So we lived with her, and then we would go to other places. We went to this city called Dnipro, which is more east. It's not front lines, but it's definitely closer, and it gets hit with just drones and missiles more. Because there's levels to it. There's like Kyiv gets air raid sirens. Kyiv gets air raid sirens, and missiles and drones come in. But most of the time they get shot down. And the first few weeks there was nothing, but then the last 6 weeks, constant every day, like air raid siren will go off. I'm on Telegram channels, and I'm on it's called X now. I think it was Twitter back then. And you can follow these real-time war journalists who tell you which air bases, what type of aircraft, from what direction they shot missiles. And then you don't know exactly where it's going to come or whatever because they can adjust. But yeah, you're just waiting. You're like, it's going to be 2 to 7 minutes depending on the missile or the drone that comes. And statistically, you're fine, especially in Kyiv. There's millions of people. And it's like if a drone hits a building, it's probably not going to hit you. But you just have this low-level anxiety all the time because you hear air raid sirens and then you just hear booms in the distance.
Oh, yeah, that's scary.
Yeah. And like there was a couple times where like, honestly, it wasn't that scary for me to be fully honest, because when you're in it, it's like everybody around you is going through it. So it's like, it's whatever. There was never a moment where I was like freaking out or anything like that. But there were some nights where like the explosions were closer, and it doesn't bring you a feeling of happiness. It's like I can't do anything. You just feel completely hopeless. And it's not scared. It's like I remember the drones, they're called Shaheds, I believe. They're an Iranian-built drone that is pretty cheap, that Russia uses to send over because they can send them in mass because they're cheap. And they sound like mopeds when they get close, like in the sky. Wow. And all the Ukrainians told me that. Like, that's their nickname for them, I believe. I might be misremembering that, but somebody said that. And he's like, yeah, if you hear the moped, like, get a picture. And I was like, you're crazy. But yeah, I never heard it. I would just hear the explosions. Even sometimes they get louder and louder. Like, the building would shake a little bit. Nothing crazy, but it would shake a little. But then one night I was laying down, and I just hear... After 2 hours of hearing drones explode in the distance, I hear, and I was like, really? I was like, fucking really? I was like I wasn't even scared. I was just like, come on, like this is, and I like got up. I was in this apartment bedroom that was next to, it had a window to the outside, and we had like a hallway. And I was like, I guess I'll go fucking stand in the hallway, but this isn't gonna save me. But I was like, whatever. I was like, fuck myself. So like, I go into the fucking hallway, and I just fucking stand there until it gets blown up farther away, and I was fine. And I was like, fuck this. And it was like 4 in the fucking morning. There had already been like 45 drones that had been sent, and it'd been quiet for like 20, 30 minutes. So I go into the living room. I'm in my underwear. I'm like wearing a big ass t-shirt, and like I'm eating some granola, and like the sun's coming up, and then I just hear boom, and like the whole building shakes. And I'm like, what the I didn't even like freak out, but I don't know. I got up and I walked to the bathroom and I just took a shit. I didn't even think about it. It just kind of happened. It was just kind of crazy. But yeah, even in those moments, you're not scared. You're just like, you just feel hopeless. You just feel so fucking hopeless.
Whatever's happening is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not really much you can do.
Exactly. That other city, Dnipro, that we went to, you're not supposed to film the drones or the missiles because Russia can, if you post it, Russia can geolocate and kind of adjust where they're hitting.
Oh.
Wow.
God, what a crazy war time where it's
insane. But in Dnipro, just to finish out this thought, we heard drones and missiles going off. And in Dnipro, they hit more. There's less air defense, and it's a lot closer to the front. That was a really long tangent, but yeah, they hit more in Dnipro. And we're there, and we hear them, and the director's like, oh, we got to go shoot it. And I was like, okay, cool. So we go out. We're like kind of hiding the cameras. Like I have dual slot going, and like I hide it in my underwear if I see a cop type shit.
What is dual slot?
The camera has 2 SD slot holes, so it's like I can pretend to take an SD out and like be like, oh yeah, here's my SD. Sorry, just shit like that. I would turn off like the red blinkers so they didn't know when we were recording.
That's a threat. Them taking your footage.
Yeah. They can stop you and do that. That happened one time, which I can talk about later. But
This is the Ukrainian government?
The military, because
Military?
it's martial law there. But yeah, we were out there at this square and we see a missile in the sky, which I had never seen a missile. I'd like heard drones, but like missiles were a little more rare to see. And it's like going this way across the city, and I see like an interceptor hit it, and I'm like, okay. I see another one. I don't see an interceptor hit it, but it's like going the other way, and I was like, fine. And I see the third one come. I believe it was 3. I could be lying. It could have been 2. I don't know. You know, your memory, whatever. But it's coming, and it's coming at us. And I see an interceptor come, miss it, and it's still coming at us. And I'm just like, oh, this doesn't feel. I don't even know what to do. Like, I wasn't freaking out, but I was like, I can't do anything. Like, if a missile's coming at you, what the fuck are you gonna do? You just take it. Yeah. Like, I can try to lay down next to some concrete, but it's like, is that really gonna fucking do anything? I don't know. And yeah, when that happened, it's just like such a hopeless feeling that makes me empathize with the people that have been living through this for a year and a half now. So much more. Because it's like, you're just a fucking civilian trying to live. And these things are just being shot at you. And like, that hopeless feeling is just so horrible. And they feel that every day. And a lot of them are really tough. A lot of them will never say that they feel that. They'll act like they don't give a fuck. And some of them actually don't, because like it fucks with your mental health. Like they probably don't even know
it after a while. Probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I hate that people have to feel that. There was more intense versions of that as well. But yeah, just seeing people go through that just sucks, because nobody deserves to go through that, especially civilians that have nothing to do with this shit. Even army people, they're conscripted by people higher up that like have agendas that they want to achieve, and they just throw young men to their death for their wants and needs. And it's fucking sad. War is bad. It's cliche, but when you're in it, it's like it just hits at another level.
And is the documentary that you were helping make, a couple questions here,
Yeah.
but are you trying to achieve like what it's like as an everyday Ukrainian in this during wartime? Is that kind of the story you're trying to tell, or is it different? Just maybe like a brief, like what are you trying to tell?
Yeah. So it's like I said, it's not my doc. I did have say, but it was definitely Troy's doc. He's the one who knows the story the best. But from my understanding and from what we shot, the purpose of the doc is to show basically, I want to say like the scrappiness of the Ukrainian people. Like, it's a documentary showing that everybody from every walk of life is helping contribute to ending this war as soon as possible. It doesn't matter if it's the grandma who is knitting camo nets for tanks. It doesn't matter if it's the IT guy who has never went to the gym in his life building software shit to hack Russian things or to like build weapon systems. It doesn't matter who it is. Everybody who shouldn't even know each other or be friends or be connected are all connected, and they're all working together. It's a thing about community, and how powerful community is, because Ukraine's basically crowdfunding this war. Yes, there are huge countries also helping fund it, like the US and the EU, but they're doing everything. Like, they're just fucking hand making shit, bro. Like, they're strapping grenades to fucking FPV drones, and flying them out, and like they're making it work, because it's a game of numbers, and they have less people and less money than Russia, and that means they have to get creative with it, and they really are. They're some of the most like creative people, and it's cool too. A thing I noticed is like the young people there, they just do. Like, I noticed people in America and other places, they're scared. They're like, oh, I haven't got enough experience to do this job or this and that. But they're at fucking war. And it's like, they don't give a fuck. Like, my friend, I just talked to him 2 weeks ago. He was one of our fixer producers, who my friend in LA actually recommended me while we were out there. We got him like halfway through the doc. His name is Vlad. He's really cool. I was like, what's up with your photography business? Because he loves photography. And he's like, I actually haven't had any time to do it because they put me in a military factory to work. Like, I got thrown in there. And I was like, oh shit, what are you doing? And he's like, I am programming machine lathing programs. And I was like, what? And I was like, do you program? Have you ever done that? He's like, never. And it's like just crash course. You just get in there and now you can do it. And it's like all Ukrainians are like that. They just like, if there is a problem that needs to be solved, they just fix it. They don't care if they don't know how, they figure it the fuck out. Like, and it's beautiful to see that shit. Like, it's really cool and really inspiring.
With the process of financing this project, you said like there wasn't like you're doing this for free. I'm sure everybody is doing this for the passion of the project being done.
Yeah.
How do you all go about doing this in a war zone?
Credit cards.
Yeah.
Lots of credit cards. It was a thing of the director, Troy. Hi, Troy. That'd be crazy if you listen to this whole thing. I respect you if you do, Troy. He was like, yeah, I can't pay you, and like that's fine, but like room and board, that'll be paid for. It kind of got to the point where like I started having to pay for some meals, and I was like, dude, it's fine. Like, I get it. You're self-funding this, and this is something bigger to me. Like, I'm not doing this for a paycheck. I'm not doing this even for the credit. It's like, this is just bigger for me. So I was like, I'll pay for whatever. Like, I would chip in when I could type shit. But yeah, like, it was just his credit cards for a majority of it. And it got to a point where like, I also was spending money on housing just because our housing situation got a little messy at some point, and I was like, I need out. So I ended up like paying for some housing for us for a bit. But it's like, it didn't feel bad to do that. Like, I wanted to help in any way that I could, if it just made the doc better and it made our morale better. And it's hard to keep morale up in a war zone sometimes, especially when you're in like stressful situations. You did ask if I went frontline. We did once. Those situations are definitely way different than anything else in the documentary. And yeah, just keeping people calm and like level-headed during situations like that is hard, especially when you don't have money. Like, because you have limited options on what you can do and where you can go and how you can get there. Like, we were riding in this fucking van, man. It was like breaking down all the time, like no windows. It was painted like white and orange. It was like our little Scooby-Doo van, basically, that we like lived out of half the time. And yeah, it was just, I think the fact that we were all in it for a bigger reason made it possible. But it's hard. It was hard. Like with basically no money.
Oh yeah.
Like just enough to survive and like get by day to day. Like it was tough. But you just do it. You just do it, and you can't complain. Like, you can leave. Like, not you, but like if you're coming in to see the documentary, it's like, you can leave. Like, these people can't leave. Like, the men cannot leave. They're not allowed to leave the country.
Exactly.
So it's like, I can't complain. Yeah.
You've kind of already answered this, and this is not something that I would ask you, but and you'll run into this question a lot and have probably already, but like what do you say to people that are like, that think you're exploiting the situation when you say, hey, I just want to go to this war zone and experience it, you know? What would you say to those people?
I think it's important. I think most people don't understand at all what living in a war zone is like. I think most people don't understand what war really is like. Even I can't say that I do. I didn't fight in it. I didn't pick up a gun. That's a different level of trauma that I wish upon no one. Even if you don't die, it's like you see these soldiers in every country come back with PTSD, and it's like, I think just telling the story of these people to people that don't understand is so important. And it all stemmed, my interest in conflict stemmed from this documentary. I always get the number of days wrong in the title. I think it's called 9 Days from My Balcony in Aleppo. It could be 11 days. But it is a guy in Aleppo, Syria during the Civil War, like right when it starts. And he's just living his regular life, making tea, making coffee, watering his plants. But right outside his window, he's on like the second or third floor. I'm not as versed in the Syrian war as I should be. But basically, the rebels and the government forces, I think those were the two factions in the beginning of that, were setting up like front lines, like sandbags in his street, and just firefights. And like the whole government's basically toppling through his like 9-day documentary, and he's just living in his house. And that was something that clicked in my head of like, oh shit, war zones aren't just army men on both sides shooting at each other in a barren wasteland. It's people's homes and families and entire histories that are being wiped out, erased, destroyed. And I don't know, that just made me so interested in it and want to show that to other people. An amazing documentary, by the way. It's a short doc too. I think it's like 11 minutes. I would recommend watching it. Yeah. So I don't know. If somebody says I'm exploiting it, nobody actually has said that. So that is an interesting point though, because I get it.
I mean, once this documentary comes out,
Yeah.
you know, maybe.
No, exactly.
People and festivals tend to get a little crazy.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm always willing to talk to people. It's like, I get it. I fully understand like war porn is a thing. And our doc is not focused on the war specifically. Like we do want to show it as far as I know. Because it's context. It's what's happening and it's what brings a story together. But our thing is more of like community and how community is connected and bringing things together. And also Troy has a big thing on history and a big thing on, he's kind of like he's not an anarchist, but like he's very deep into like the anarchist, socialist, communist, like history. So like I assume he's going to put a twist on that. And like talk about the history of that and how like society could be different if it was more community oriented versus like capitalism and stuff like that. That's not the main part of the documentary, but that is a thing that he talked about. I don't fully understand what he's doing on that end, but I know it's more than just like, oh, look at this dead body. Oh my gosh, like blah, blah, blah. Which watch 20 Days in Mariupol. It's out now on YouTube on Frontline. It's long. And that one, I guess you could say is exploiting, but it's not. It's a lot of gore, a lot of people dying, but it's never. I've never had a documentary impact me as much as that. I've never cried that much. Like it was fucking horrifying in a way that I needed to see. Like that was something that I needed to, because I didn't know the extent of it. I really didn't know the extent of what was going on in Ukraine until I saw that. So, yeah.
Yeah, I like the part that you said about that we don't really see the civilian side of things. You know, in history, that's I'm a fan of history as well. Yeah, that's often like the first thing that kind of fade away, and then all we remember is what side, when, where, fighting. So I can totally relate to that. One of my favorite podcasts, Hardcore History.
Oh, nice.
Has like kind of dives into some of these moments where it's like just like these little vignettes of like what were the people doing when they weren't fighting, you know? Yeah. And for like if there was like a World War one and on French and German, like fighting in the trenches, horrible warfare, you know, trench foot, blah, blah, blah. And then on Christmas, they got out of their trenches for an hour, drank together and celebrated. Because it's like, well, we're not going to be fighting on Christmas. Yeah. Like, so it doesn't really matter. And we're both celebrating, so why don't we do it together? And it's just this really strange civilian moment. Yeah. And there's just not that much seen of it. Yeah. I mean, now more because social media, but I think that's cool. Yeah. I want to hear more about this interesting and controversial thing of the Ukrainian government not wanting you to have your footage. Obviously, they don't know what you're doing with it, but like, I want to that moment. What was that like?
So, that was actually it's you basically cannot show any military vehicles. You can't show any institutions that house military people, or equipment. You can't show railroads. You can't show. I don't think you're supposed to show any flying things, airplanes, helicopters, those things, or government buildings. And it's all because of just info wars, not like Alex Jones info wars, but like you know what I mean?
It's gonna get into the wrong hands.
Yeah, the Russians can study it basically. Yeah. So they're really fucking strict about that shit. And if you get caught doing it, like they'll come up to you and like surround you and take you to the side and like they'll watch your footage and all that shit. It only happened once. And it was on accident, actually. We were shooting this artist. She makes this art style called Petrokivka. I can't really explain it. It's just like flowers. It's really pretty. And we shot her little section where she was making art. And she had to... I forgot the name of it, but it's that spray you do to like finish off paint. You guys probably know more than me because you're art people, but
like a sealing.
Yeah, it was like a sealer or some shit like that. So we go outside to shoot that because she had to seal it outside, and apparently the building behind her building was housing military people. It wasn't a military installation, but like they use some other places for that. And I didn't notice, and I didn't ever point towards it, but they thought I did. So they come over, like 3 of them. They weren't like super aggressive, but they're just like, come here, like, and you're just like, okay. And we had a local. This was in Dnipro, and he came over with us. He's like this short little bald IT guy. He was really cool. I love that dude, Boris. And he's just talking to them, and they're all like mad and like kind of like grilling him, but he's just laughing, like he's crazy. And they were like, we want to see the footage. So I roll the footage. I'm like, yeah, I didn't get any of it. And then I roll and I see another clip and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I click it and it's literally dead on their military building in slow-mo. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Troy took a video when I put the camera down because he was also shooting too. And yeah, but thankfully they were just like, just delete that and like, don't be fucking stupid again. Basically is what they said. But like we were there for like 20 minutes and they were surrounding us. They all had guns. I don't care. You're at war. It's like guns are everywhere. But yeah, that was a bit stressful because you're just like, when you don't speak the language too, and they don't speak English, it's just like, it kind of adds tensions. Yeah. Yeah. So that was that situation, but it's just like an overall thing of like, if you have your military credentials, you have to understand what you can and can't shoot because you can get in trouble. There's been people who like will go to jail for that, type shit. So
what do you, as a filmmaker, and maybe this could be advice too, what do you do about that? Are you worried that maybe what you are shooting without you knowing it could be helpful to the wrong side?
Yeah.
What do you do about that? Is it training maybe? Before you said the credentials require some sort of training. Is it cooperating with the military there, or is it? Yeah, I don't know.
We were scrappy, so like we weren't like CNN. Like there were news organizations out there that have like better. I don't want to say better. Our producers were good, but like higher paid producers, more connects in the military. So like they obviously can just money their way through the situation. We couldn't. So it was just a lot of like just research and like our main subject, who was also one of our producers, she was a journalist. So she kind of knew the system. She's a little scatterbrained, so she didn't know everything, but like she helped us a lot. But it's just a lot of research. Yeah. And a lot of like, I don't know. I just kind of already understood how little information in a picture like can really geolocate you. There's this guy, I don't know if you guys have seen him, but the exactly geolocator guy, he it's literally crazy, like he'll see an image for a half second on fucking Google Maps in the middle of nowhere and he'll know exactly where it is. And there's people like that in
guy
government.
Falls into the wrong hands and so
exactly no, but for real. And it's like if governments get a video or a picture, like they can study that shit. Like I followed a bunch of they're called OSINT, just open source intelligence Twitter accounts, and all they do is just analyze building shapes and like tell you exactly the coordinates of where missiles are hitting and like
that's crazy
shit like that. So it's like you gotta be careful as fuck. The good thing with us is like we're making a documentary. We're not a news crew. So it's like our shit's coming out way later. So it doesn't really matter for us as much, but we just can't be posting on social media. That was a thing for me too. Like I wiped my name from the internet. Like I did, I'm not going to say like what I changed it to, but basically like misinformation, different birth dates, different names on every single thing, like account names in different languages as like, you know, my Instagram, and no posting. And if I posted, it would have to sometimes be like, oh, I'm in Vegas, like just to completely throw people off. And for me, I didn't have to do that. Like I'm not really doing the investigative journalism that could get somebody interested in like taking me out type shit. But there's people who like you do just a little bit and they're like, oh, we don't want that to be shown. And you can literally be killed for that. Like it happens. Like people don't care. Journalists are killed in Russia all the time. And it's scary everywhere, not just Russia, to be honest. It's everywhere. And I just don't want to be killed. I want people to want to kill me. That is a goal of mine. Like I want to get to that level of journalism where like a government wants to fucking put a bullet in my head because that means you're doing something right.
That's a hot take right there.
Doing something right, but haven't done that yet. Will, and I'll do it well.
I think that the answer's our next question.
Oh yeah,
but in 10 years, where do you want to be?
Not dead, hopefully.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm staying hydrated.
But fighting to survive.
Not dead, but a government organization in the attempting to find you.
I mean, yeah, as dramatic as that fucking sounds, I hate it when people talk like this. But yeah, like, I want a corporation. I want somebody really rich who's doing something wrong, a government that's doing something bad. I want them to know that I'm going to try to shine light on it.
Yeah.
And if that pisses them off, so be it. If I die, I die. I don't want to die. I'm not that type of person where I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be stupid. It's like, I'm still going to try my best to not fucking die. But it's like, I want to make these types of people mad. I want to make these types of people like known to the world so that we can fix whatever problems they're causing. Also, by the way, I don't only want to do like war shit. Like I literally love just people. Like, I just want to do cultural, like, I talked about that documentary in Mexico. Like, a big thing with me is I want to do a bunch of mini docs in Mexico about small cultural traditions in small towns that you would never know. And in a way of, like, a lot of people don't get to travel, especially, like, I notice a lot of, like, people demonize, like, Republicans or conservatives. And, like, I lived on a farm not for Farmer Wants a Wife. Like, I lived on a farm and I, like, birthed cattle for a bit. It was a whole nother thing. But I live with like MAGA Republicans, like huge family, like 7 kids, like conspiracy theorist, farm manager, all this shit. I'm not any of that. But people are people and I'm living with them and they're still good people who just aren't exposed to the world. It was in Oregon. It was like, I think 50 miles south of Bend. Is that where the Blockbuster is? It's Bend, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was just in the middle of nowhere, like off a highway. And I realized it's like people like that are just people. And the reason a lot of them have the views they have is because they've never been exposed to another way of life. They don't know what, like, they literally have not ever hung out with a black person. They've never been to another country. They don't know somebody who speaks another language. They like these things. And that's why they're scared, because their only knowledge of these things are through the media. Like,
and that's
movies
something
and media.
you think you can achieve with documentary.
Yeah. Just being able to, like, it's like allowing somebody to travel somewhere who doesn't have the means to travel and open their minds. Even if it's like a bit of a, I don't know the word, it's a bit big of an expectation, but like, even if I can just change like 20, 30 people and they can do their own things and change, it's just like, you know, it's spiders, it trickles. Yeah. And that's super important to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It doesn't have to be war. It can be anything. Yeah.
Well, and I mean, I feel like documentary plays a role in scaring criminals in a way, especially when it comes to corporations, you know, like if you fuck up, the takedown piece is coming. You know? That's I think kind of the fear that you're talking about. You like want people to shake in their seats that you're going to make a thing about them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And just sharing the truth. I mean, it doesn't have to be the truth of what's happening in Ukraine, but it like the truth of what's a person in Mexico and like how people live around the world. And I mean, but documentaries are just so powerful and sharing the truth of it all and the story. And it's your truth though. And I love the connection that a filmmaker can have when telling the story right, when doing the best they can do to share what they believe is the truth in this. And that's why we're so passionate in what the stories that we want to tell and the stories that you want to tell. It's cool that you're doing these things.
Yeah. I think it's a very important point you kind of just said too about how it's like your perspective as well, because every documentary, every film is going to be biased. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing as long as you're honest about it. My goal is to be as unbiased and just show life as possible, as much as possible in these situations, and tell people my view on it and like try to be like, this is what I think, but like allow them to come with their own outcomes. That's my goal. Like I said, I haven't finished a fucking doc yet, so you know I'm just all talking.
We all haven't made it yet.
I know exactly. But yeah, that's my thing. Is like I just want to show people as raw as possible, because your enemy might be a lot more like you than you think they are.
Yeah.
We're all people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So 10 years from now, you have a message to yourself right now that we can give to you in 10 years, and you can replay this thing that you're about to tell yourself. what would you want to tell yourself?
So sorry, my brain is crazy right
That's
now.
fine.
I'm talking to the person in 10 years, or they're talking to me now?
You're talking to that person in 10 years from now.
To you.
To you.
The sound
that is that
bit
person.
We're sending this to you in 10 years.
Oh, we're sending.
You can put this
to
in
me
your
10 years.
documentary. In your.
Oh, what am I going to tell him?
Yeah,
what am I going to tell?
What are you going to tell him?
36-year-old me. That's interesting because I feel like that question usually the other way.
We would do it the other way, but we just don't have the technology.
Yeah. I have to tell
a
you
budget
about the
thing.
future.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Our producers need to work on it.
What would I tell an older me? I don't know. I would just be like, I hope you kept doing what you wanted to do. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I hope you kept at it. And if you didn't, that's okay as well. There's no pressure on anybody. That's like just kind of a thing for me. It's like you can always, like, this is such a huge thing to me. But if I decided tomorrow that I can't do it anymore, that's okay. It sucks. It really would suck, but like that's okay. You're allowed to change. You're allowed to do whatever makes you happy. So just do what makes you happy. That's what I'm gonna tell myself every day.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
Well, thank you, Peter,
Thank you.
for telling your stories, your words of wisdom, and
Riveting stories.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we didn't say much, but it was just like
Sorry.
no, it was
it's
like
listening. Yeah.
I didn't have anything to say. It was just I wanted to listen and hear it. It was just really exciting.
Thank you.
But yeah, we're going into outro. We have a thing from.
We do have a thing. I also quickly wanted to ask
Yeah,
if you want to plug in, maybe if you know when this documentary will be out and how people could follow that. Do they follow you? Do they follow your secret online identity?
I don't know when this doc's gonna be out. We're actually talking about going back out to Ukraine because we need to film some more. So I don't know. Troy Ozuna is the director. He's the one that does most of the push for it. Like it's gonna be posted on his stuff first and probably more. The name is Wild Fields. There is a GoFundMe, but it's done. Like that was just for the initial one. But it has a trailer on it if you want to look at that. My Instagram, if you just want to follow me just cause, is Petros Kostos, PetroSkostos.
We'll put all that in the description.
Thank you. Or Costa, there's no S at the end. Yeah. Yeah, was that your question? Sorry. Yeah,
that was it?
Yeah. That's that. Yeah.
Oh, and then our little closing question. Yeah, so Tomer was in another episode. Oh, God, I should have had the number ready. Check out Tomer's episode. Just type in Tomer. He's also a documentarian and a camera guy. So we were like, hey, this makes sense. Let's see what his question to you is, to all of us is. It's a warm-up officially, but I'm going to play it now.
Hey, it's Tomer, and I'd love to know if you could have an hour-long conversation with any filmmaker in the world, who would it be, and what would you ask them about? Cool.
I'd say 3 pop to mind. I know he asked for 1, and it's gonna be quick. Anthony Bourdain, he's dead, but that would be top tier. Louis Theroux, one of the best documentary makers ever. What I would ask him, I don't know. I don't have questions for the people. I just admire their work. I'll just ask him about his process. And then there's this guy, I think he's controversial now or whatever, but his documentaries hit so hard and in a very different way that I think it's important to mention him. Andrew Callahan from Channel 5. He used to be All Gas No Breaks. He's a YouTube documentarian. He does it so different and he shines light on shit in a way that other people don't. And I think what he does is really important. I think that my pathway was almost what his was, but he did it first, and I applaud him for that. And I wish I don't think anybody could do it better than him. So I'm glad that he did it. He just did this thing that I actually wanted to do, just to talk really quick. I wanted to smuggle myself across the Mexican border into America with coyotes, like the drug smugglers, not like the actual animals. But and then get put into one of those 18-wheeler just cargo things that they smuggle immigrants across the country in, because there's a lot of stories of people dying in those because they would die in the heat, they wouldn't unlock them. And he just did something. He just crossed the Rio. He got detained by ICE and got a felony for it. But the documentary shows the whole process of what you have to go through and how much it costs these people in Mexico to like pay, and like just like the shit they go through. It's fucking eye-opening because like, I mean, I just have a really strong connection to Mexico, mainly because I live in the Southwest and I just know a lot of Mexican people. I dated, my ex was Mexican, and like her family was from Mexico. She's dual citizen, and just hearing the stories of her friends and her family and the shit they went through, people dying trying to cross the border, people getting brain damage trying to get across, losing their entire savings. Like, it's fucking sad. This is a whole nother subject, but like, yeah, he just shines light on shit like that, and it's beautiful, and I think it needs to be shown, and I strive to do shit like that, and that's that. Yeah, just show these horrible things to people so they can empathize with people going through things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would talk to Denis Villeneuve
Hell yeah.
to talk about Dune.
Yeah.
Just that's it.
I love it. No, I love it, dude.
I wish it was better, but I have a lot of questions.
I don't really want to talk to anyone.
You would talk to you?
I feel like it would ruin
Yeah.
the movies.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to live up to how cool I think they probably are.
Well, I feel like Denis definitely would not want to talk about Dune. I'm sure he's Duned out.
Probably is also Duned out.
Yeah. So he's like, God, just another guy I have to talk to for an hour.
Did he do Prisoners as well?
He did Prisoners.
I fucking love Prisoners, dude.
Yeah.
He did Sicario. What else? What else did he do?
Blade Runner 2049.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's
Arrival.
solid, bro.
Good stuff.
Arrival is good
Yeah.
too. Yeah. I
Yeah,
gotta
a
watch-
lot of stuff
yeah.
I could talk about. Mainly Dune because I like Dune.
Yeah. I gotta watch that.
Yeah, and then, you don't want to talk to anybody. You would
No.
you would be in silence for an hour.
Yeah, I would turn my back. Why have you brought me here?
Is it like a don't
Look
meet
into
your
the mirror.
heroes thing, or like?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what. It's just the autobiographies out there. You know, I'll read that.
yeah.
That's like them trying to explain themselves very articulately, and I'll just realize that they're just a person.
That would suck.
Which, God forbid,
That can't happen.
don't want that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Sigourney Weaver.
Hell yeah. That's a cool one.
This was an Indie Not Films production, edited by Hayden Garrett, and music provided by Harrison Garrett. Do you want to leave feedback? Have an idea for our next guest? Email us, indienotfilms@gmail.com. Support us by leaving a review and rating us on anywhere you listen to podcasts.